Hello, and thank you for joining me today. I'm your host, Gal Swisa Cohen, and on today's episode of The Israeli Bond on hmTv, my special guest, Maya Braverman, is going to talk with me about her role as emissary here in Long Island and in general. So, Maya, we're going to do it differently of what I'm doing usually. And this time, I want you to introduce yourself. First of all, who you are and what you do in Long Island. What is it to be an emissary in Long Island today?
All right, let's try. All right, so my name is Maya Braverman. I'm 23 years old. I'm from Israel, originally from Petah Tikva, as all of my family are from Petah Tikva. I came here after my army service last year. This is my second year as a Shlicha, or as an emissary. My main role here is actually to be kind of the head of a youth movement, of the Israeli youth movement called Tzofim, or Scouts. And I also work in a Jewish community center in Oceanside named Friedberg, which I really love. Yeah.
Sounds really interesting, but I want to tap more into what does it mean to be an emissary or a shlicha?
Yeah.
And why, I think this is the most important stuff here.
Why did I choose it? Kinda?
It is important to know that, but no, not only that, because I also want to understand why you think it's so important to have Israeli as an emissary here.
Mm-hmm. I think the role of a shaliach is kind of, you have to try and you have to do everything at the same time. Sometimes you have even like more focused age group that you need to be with. But like, for example, with my youth movement, they're mostly teenagers, but it's usually everybody. Like, you need to put yourself out there. You need to reach to people. You need to be a helping hand to people if they want to learn about Israel. They want to learn about what's like being a Jewish person, but also just in general, being a helpful hand in those communities, like in the JCC. Like, you kind of commit, like you have to fully commit yourself to give and to help, and also to accept a lot of changes, because it is really different how, like, identified as an Israeli or as a Jewish person in Israel sometimes, and now sometimes I'm identified myself as an Israeli Jewish person here, because it is really different. It's really important, in my opinion, that it have to be somebody Israeli, because it's such an interesting concept. Like, I remember talking a lot, like, with my friends or other emissary, that sometimes, you know, of course I'm Jewish, or of course I'm Israeli because I live in Israel, I was born in Israel. But here it's not necessarily, you know, I don't know if it's like a thing or like a well-known stuff. Like, here I learn more about what it's like being a Jewish person than I think what I ever learned, you know, in my whole years as an Israeli person. But I think it's also a really good opportunity for Jewish people who learn about Israel to see as a person as Israeli and not just a concept. Like, Israel is not a concept, it's a human being, or people who are actually like born and live over there and can share and tell experience, even of like basic stuff like, oh, I was in the military, but you know, that's what I did in my military service, and kind of go on that maybe some people will not have those kind of conversation if I wasn't an Israeli Jewish shlicha or emissary. Yeah.
So, wait. Okay, so first of all, this is very interesting, and it sure shed a light of the role of emissaries here and why it's so important. I want to say that, so you're an emissary and you have two main organizations that you work for, right? You said like you have your role in the Scouts. You're the head of the Scouts tribe here in Long Island. Mm-hmm. And you have another role that you are the emissary of Friedberg JCC. Mm-hmm. Every organization or every part of your role is a bit different. And I want to say, just for the general context, that we have today the senior emissary, Dagan, my husband, who leads the entire delegation. Yeah. Then 3 junior emissaries like you are that has different organizations that they work with. And then 6 shinshinim,
Yeah.
shnat shirut, year of service, teens that comes here before the army service. So this is a very large delegation. And I want to tap with you into your role in these two very different organizations, right?
Yeah.
Because in one, you lead the tribe of the scouts, and on the other, you're an emissary in a
Like a
JCC,
classic
which
emissary, yeah.
which can you explain what does
Yeah.
it mean to be an emissary inside a JCC?
Yeah. So, of course, in every JCC, especially I think here in Long Island, it's kind of different role and kind of different variation. But I think me, Shaked, and Maya, we're the other junior shlichot, are really trying to bring more of Israel as much as we can, and more of like what it is to be a Jewish person as much as we can, because it is called a JCC, it's Jewish Community Center, but not all of the people in the JCC are Jewish. So we are trying to bring Jewish life and Israeli life, but in my JCC, it's not a way to like show it big. It's like being Jewish, it's a way of life, and it's like any normal people, any normal person. So, for example, when we do Shabbat dinner, we invite everybody because it's just a nice way for us to, to do a Shabbat or do like a dinner, like Friday dinner together, which is a Shabbat.
Because in Friedberg JCC, there's a lot of community.
Yeah.
Most of community members.
Yeah, most of the community. Maybe I'm wrong, but most people I think in Friedberg JCC are non-Jewish. They love Israel. They support the Jewish people, but most of them and also the staff are non-Jewish. Or if they are Jewish, they're not necessarily like as involved in Judaism, like more chilonim in a way. So it's really kind of an interesting concept to kind of teach them about what's like being a Jewish person or what's like being like an Israeli person, but also to show them I'm not this foreign concept, I'm a human being like you and me, and like you don't have to, go abroad to meet a person like me. For example, I don't know if I can say it right. So a person which I really, really love, he's identified as a gay person, and he asked me if in Israel we have gay people.
Wow.
Yeah. He asked me, like, it was a very innocent question. It wasn't like in a way, he just really wanted to know because everything he heard about Israel was like, what we know, about like LGBTQ community. And then I told him, we have one of the biggest pride parade in Israel. Neil Patrick Harris, the actor, actually came to one of the pride parade in Israel. It's like a whole acceptance that sometimes you will not see because you see a very type of like specific type of media for Israel. But for him, it was just a really nice way to see it. And he actually told me that he's planning to go to Israel to maybe go to the Pride Parade because he loves Israel, but he didn't know there's the part of Israel that accept, like LGBTQ people like him as much as he thought.
So basically so for a lot of the community members, whether they are Jewish or not, in a lot of ways, you bring the Israel face. So you do it by organizing programs, but also from just being yourself.
Yeah.
And just talking with people and giving them a very easy way to communicate with someone who comes to Israel, from Israel, which is a place that, in the media, you can hear so many things about. Yeah. And not necessarily, and now they have an address, someone to come to and really discuss with. So first of all, amazing.
Yeah.
Only from that,
I really love him. He's a really nice person. Yeah.
but also only from this conversation, I can truly understand, and I guess also the listeners can now truly understand the importance of having an emissary to really bring the voice of Israel, the voice of people in Israel, not just the Israel you see on the media and on the news, which can be very controversial maybe, but at the end of the day, there's people there.
And also I think they feel free to ask more of like, I don't want to say stupid question because I don't think there's any stupid question, but because they already know me and I have those kind of relationship, they feel more comfortable to come and ask me those kind of stuff. And maybe for just like an American Jewish person, they will not feel as comfortable to ask question about Israel because he lives in America. He doesn't live in Israel. He doesn't see maybe all of the things that I see or you see as an Israeli person.
I agree. I totally agree with what you're saying. And this is like when hearing you speak, I think about this is what real shlichut is. Like this is what is, it's kind of a tikkun olam that the emissaries, the delegation and the Israeli emissaries are doing here on the behalf of Israel, not necessarily Israel, the state, as like Israel, the people, or Israel, the citizens of Israel. So beautifully. And I want to say that you haven't introduced yourself like that at the beginning, but basically you're kind of a shlichut addict.
Yeah.
Like you're kind of.
That's true.
So this is your sixth time that you're going on a mission to a delegation. This is the longest, right? It's like a 2 years mission. You're going to stay here for 2 years. This is your second year. So in 6 months, you're going back home.
That's
like
crazy.
I am.
That's crazy for me to think about it. But yeah, that's really crazy.
So this is the sixth time. So you already have been in 5 more delegations in the past. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Of course. I was always interested in delegation, like the concept of delegation. I didn't really know why, or like put like a finger on like why. This is also the first delegation that I'm doing after my military service. All of them I did, before my military service.
You didn't mention, but you're super young. Yeah. What's your age?
I'm 23 years old, which is very young. Yeah, I'm very young. In our age group of like people that went to like delegation, I'm like the youngest, which is really like weird to think about it, because now I don't feel as young because of the shinshin, but like that's the truth. So I finished my military service. I came straight to to Long Island to do this whole emissary. But the first time I went to a delegation was when I was in 10th grade, like the winter of 10th grade. I went to Germany, to Nuremberg, and it was through the scout. I was like born and raised in the scouts, like Israeli scouts. So film, really, really big part of who I am is also like why I wanted to be like the head of the scouts right here.
Today,
like that's, actually like what led me to believe, I want to also be the head of the tribe, the head of the Shabbat here. We met, and actually my first delegation was with non-Jewish people. We stayed at a house of Christian Protestant people, if I remember correctly. We was there like during Christmas, during Hanukkah, like we went and like everything like you do usually do in delegation. And then on the same year, I had
but how long was this delegation?
It was like, I think 10 days. It wasn't that long. It was like 10 days with non-Jewish like members. It was the first of its kind delegation situation. Like usually most delegation, especially from the scouts, are in the summer. This was kind of the first time that the scout like movement tried to do it like in the winter.
And what was the purpose of this delegation?
It was mostly just to get to know other scouts people. So the scouts, like, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, like Israeli Scouts, and all of that are under the same umbrella of the biggest scouts name. But all of them have like different branches. So for the scouts that we met over there, they're like the Christian scouts, like something like that. So they don't have the same uniform that I had, the same time that I have, the same, language that I have, not only because they're not non-Jews and non-Israeli, but because that's just their movement or like their like branch from the scouts were. So it was just a way for me to get to know other people who are in the scouts and not other people who are Jewish, like in that type of delegation.
Okay, so you talked about Judaism, but also like different.
Just like being teenagers, they were like I was like 15, 16 years old. They were like 15, 16, teenagers. So
in Germany.
In Germany. So we just had, a nice conversation about how different it is to be, a teenager in Israel and how interesting it is to be a teenager, in Germany. Of course, we also had, conversation about like what it's like being, if I have a connection to the Holocaust, what it's like for them, teaching. And I actually learned a lot of how they are taught about like the Holocaust or like how they are dealing with the Holocaust. Like as a teenagers where, for me, it's kind of far away, even though I'm like a granddaughter of Holocaust survivors. But for them, it's really like important subject. And for me, it was the first time to actually meet like a German person, like have a talk with them about how Holocaust, affected them and how they learn about the Holocaust as a non-Jewish person, but also it's like how it affected on me and how maybe it will be weird for me to sit in a table with German people, non-Jewish people at the same time. So it was very I really love those kind of delegation because you can really get to, the core of topics that you don't usually will have with a Jewish person, because you don't really know, you don't know the background of the families that I met. And I don't need to, but it was nice to have, an open conversation about how to deal with the topic of Holocaust and how to deal with the topic of history, but in a teenager's eyes, not in an adult eyes or a teacher eyes. So it was really, I still really remember that delegation. It was a really interesting time in my life to kind of figure it out. Oh, that's something I really love. To have those kind of topics.
So why you decide? So to begin with, I believe that this would have opened your appetite for this kind of delegations. Yeah. But do you remember what led you to decide to go there, to go to this delegation?
I think
the tryout at least.
I think the year before that, over the summer, there is this delegation that I went to. I went over the summer between 10th grade and 11th grade. But it's a delegation. It's called CVK, Route 1, CVK Chetz Vakeshet. Maybe some people went to Route 1 know that program, because it's like a combined program that you can do. It's simple as I can say. It's basically Taglit for teenagers. Basically, it's Taglit. It's the funnest delegation that I ever had, because it's a chance for you as an Israeli person. It's happening in Israel.
Wait.
Yeah, sorry.
But I'm asking why you decided to go to the first delegation. It was in the winter in Germany.
Mostly because my grandfather used to live in Hong Kong. And my uncle used to live at that time at the state, in Seattle. And just the concept of being a Jewish person in a diaspora, or just any type of emissary work, really just was really interesting to me. I didn't really know why, but I thought, oh, that would be a nice experience, to kind of figure it out, what's my grandfather or maybe my uncle feel about being Jewish people in the diaspora in very different places. So I thought he was
and as a teenager,
why not? I'm paying to go to Germany, to meet other teenagers. I truly didn't think at the time. I didn't have a purpose. But I'm when I went drive here, I thought about one moment that actually made me realize why I love delegations so much. And it was because of the CVK delegation that I went to. I had a talk on the bus. I still remember it. I had a talk on the bus with a Jewish American girl from Orange County. We're really, really good friends. And then she told me, she was my age, so she was between 10th grade and 11th grade at the time. She told me, my parents are Israeli, but I didn't have the chance to go to Israel at that time until I was this age. Told her, oh, why? She said, oh, going to Israel is sometimes very expensive, or, I don't even have a lot of close family in Israel, so maybe it will be my only time, going to Israel in my life. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to go to college in the U.S. I don't know if I'm going to be in Israel in the next couple of years, so that's my first and maybe last time in Israel, which was very weird for me. Because I thought to myself, oh, every Jewish person, needs to come to Israel. What do you mean? You have everything like that. And I remember in that moment, the kind of the mic, my
aha moment.
Yeah. So if she, as a Jewish person who really, really loved Israel, couldn't come to Israel because, circumstances.
Yeah, life.
Yeah. Why can't I go to her and,
bring her the Israeli experience, kind of. It's not the whole.
It's not going to be, the full Israeli experience, but yeah. And that's what made me think about, as an Israeli person, sometimes we think, oh, every Jewish American person can come to Israel. Of course, every, European Jews can come to Israel. What do you mean? But me and my friend at the time really, really, really didn't think about that. Oh, maybe they can't. Or maybe life, and they can come to visit Israel, or they don't have a reason beside those kind of small delegation to come to Israel, and they lose a bunch of information.
And also,
Just the connection also.
The connection to Israel.
Yeah.
I remember, so I interviewed here a couple of weeks ago, David Black, and I'm in like this mission of exploring what's the connection between the Jewish diaspora and Israel. And he said something that really stick to my mind, which is that Israel is the manifestation of Judaism, or like of the Jewish people, and so this conversation really it was really made an impact on me. And what you're saying now is that we have, so if Israel is the manifestation of the Jewish people and the Judaism in general, and people who are Jewish may, because of life, because, you go to college and then you work, and not necessarily you can travel this 12 hours or more for it's a big trip. So even if you do it, sometimes you only do it once in your life, maybe twice in your life. You really can lose this connection. So this is opportunity. It's really a good opportunity to have this connection, to rebring this connection. I love that. I really love that. So our time is really come to an end almost, and I must tell you that it was so fascinating that I haven't even I haven't felt it. But I want to ask you, because as I said, this is your second year on a 2 years mission. This is the longest delegation you've ever been in, and in 6 months you're gonna go back to Israel, and you're super young, meaning that you started working, dealing with delegations and with the Jewish world. I would say like 8 years of your life currently, something like that.
Yeah, from when I was
16 to 23, I would say 7 years of your life. And you haven't mentioned it, but also in the military service, you were working with people who are non-Jews, or
wanted to convert to Judaism.
Convert to Judaism, So you're dealing with that for the last 7 years of your life, and you're 23, so it's like more than third of your life. So now I wonder what would happen next. In 6 months, you're going back home. Are you gonna be? What are you gonna do?
I think I truly don't know. I know I want to take kind of a year off, kind of like to figure it out what I want to do. Also for my mental health, because I think, I finished high school. I did a gap year. I didn't say that, but I did a gap year also through the Jewish agency. I went to the army and then came straight here, and everything really, really happened in 7 years. And I'm not that old, which is also kind of crazy to think about it. But I think for me and for my mental health, I need to take kind of a year off and try to figure it out, how I want the rest of my life to look like. I really love delegation. I really love being an emissary. I really truly believe in the concept of if you can come to Israel, Israel will come to you. And maybe, some days when I'm a little bit older, after, I get my degree and everything, I'll come back to that.
Maybe
you never know. Maybe I'll be the next Dagan and the next Gal. You never know. But I think now I truly believe that a big part, like I said before, a big part of being a shaliach is that you have to help everybody in any way that you can, in any way you are capable of. And I know that whatever I'm going to do next in my life, if it's going to be with Jewish people in diaspora or Jewish people in Israel, I still want to do it. I still want to be a helping hand as much as I can. And maybe, when time goes by, I'll have the chance to come back and be the next Dagan or the next Gal and go back to that, life, and go back to the stuff that I truly, truly love. But I really think that for this kind of job, you sometimes need to take a step back, let other people do it, and be fully, prepared to give yourself as much as you can. Yeah. And then come back to that.
Because, I think that people doesn't understand that being an emissary is not like a day job, a 9 to 5 job. It's like 24 hours, 7 days a week job. Yeah. As long as your delegation or as your shlichut or your term is.
And you truly, truly need to love that.
Yeah.
That's, I think, one of the jobs that I think you truly, truly need to love and believe in what you do to do it the
because
best
you need
way.
to do it
Because you need
24/7.
That's also very true. Yeah.
So thank you so much. This was super inspiring conversation. And as always, I want to ask you 4 very short questions.
All right.
You need to answer whatever comes to your mind, okay?
All right.
So let's try.
All right.
Okay.
Excited. All right.
Having coffee in Midtown Manhattan or in Shenkin, Tel Aviv?
Shenkin, Tel Aviv.
Ooh, okay. Okay. Starting a scouts camp from nothing in Bereshit Forest in Tel Aviv, or sleeping in cabins in a scouts ground in the Poconos.
The second option, the Poconos. It's
yeah.
fun. Yeah.
Because of the Poconos or because of the...
I think because of the cabin, mostly. It's really life-changing.
Yeah, it's completely different.
It's really different, yeah.
Okay, what would you miss the most from this delegation?
The people.
The people of Long Island.
The people of Long Island. I think they're truly amazing people.
I couldn't agree more. And what would be the first thing that you're going to do the second that you land in Israel in August?
Probably hug my boyfriend, Kai. Probably.
Aww.
Yeah. Probably the first thing I'll do is hug him.
So hard to have this long distance relationship.
Yeah. But it's fine. I love him. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much, Maya.
Thank you.
This is actually how we're closing the episode of today. I want to thank my guest, Maya Braverman, for this interesting, super inspiring conversation about what does it mean to be an emissary, a Shlicha, today in Long Island, and in general about this whole shlichut thing. And thank you, my listeners, to tuning in to another episode of the Israeli Bond on hmTv. And if you're interested in more details about the job, what Maya is doing here as an emissary, as a shlicha, and on the entire Israeli delegation in general in Long Island, you're more than welcome to email us, basically to the gun, in rcfidirector@sjjcc.org. And if you're enjoying exploring the information, the history, and the stories of today's conversation, be sure to check out our other podcasts here on hmTV. Please subscribe, share, and stay connected for more engaging conversations. And until next time, take care and be well.